I grew up playing games. I played games with my family, my sister, my mom, and we would play games that weren't just kids' games. We would play games that were fun for the whole family. And that was something that helped us be able to get together in a way that didn't feel like it was pressure.
I have memories of playing RPGs growing up that really pushed themes of you can't do it alone. You need to be surrounded by other people, like make friends. You can accomplish more in the presence of others.
Games have always given me a space to belong. And I think that's one of the things that they provide for everyone. It's this opportunity to have something that is interesting and engaging. And it's not just the gameplay experience itself, it's the chance to talk to your friend about what you found so exciting about it. It's the chance to maybe even game together and whether collaboratively or competitively tackle the challenges that come up in that. And it gives you a space where you feel like you are a part of something. So my name is Adam Johns. I am the co-founder and co-executive director of Game to Grow. I'm one of the two Adams who helped kind of create the organization and develop the main model that we use is using games as a form of therapeutic intervention.
Game to Grow, as you know, we're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. What we're most well known for is our therapeutic use of tabletop role-playing games like Dungeons and Dragons, but our mission overall is to bring people together through shared collective activities.
When Adam Davis and I started doing this kind of work, really using games as a therapeutic intervention, what we were doing was we were going to a drop-in group that was a space for social interaction for neurodiverse youth. And it was a wonderful space where they could sit and play games. They were playing Dungeons and Dragons together. And as we started taking over the facilitation and we started really diving into telling stories with it, what we realized was that the game itself was a great avenue for showing examples, for showing stuff that goes on within their own lives. And in many ways, the character that they would play in the game, even though it was a fun experience and they were having a great time, was also a wonderful space for them to practice many of the skills that they needed to learn within their own lives.
We want to spark joy in the folks that come to our tables to learn more about each other, to learn more about their fellow players, and to have fun, but also to experience growth in their lives. Game to Grow uses methodologies and approaches and philosophies from a wide range of helping disciplines, so from drama therapy and from play therapy, to try to infuse moments of growth and moments of constructive collaborative play into the fantastical adventures that we run every week. Game to Grow uses the lens of storytelling and of wonder and of make-believe scaffolded onto rolling dice and drawing maps and fighting amazing monsters as a way to unlock truths about ourselves and our fellow players, and through this safe and collaborative environment, learn more about each other and grow as human beings.
But we've actually expanded the organization way beyond that, including training programs, teaching people how to use games of all kinds, branching into video games like Minecraft, branching into counseling services, individual and family counseling services, branching into other populations, working with hospitals and foster youth, and really focusing on how to show the world how games can be used with an intentionality to help people grow and improve their lives.
So I've been doing this work for over a decade now, so I have a lot of stories of times I've seen insight growth and change from the youth participants we've worked with. I've seen group participants who their first time they come, they're anxious and they're nervous about expressing themselves to other people. That person maybe has never had a friend before, never been to a birthday party. And over the course of playing games with a team of adventurers that they get to join with, they host a birthday party and they invite their new friends to that experience. And that has been one of the things that we've seen again and again, is our participants who have never had a rewarding social experience now have a community they can participate in, that with shared language. So now they not only can come play games in our groups, but they can go to the game store and participate with some new people they just met, or go to a gaming convention and sit down with strangers. And because they have that shared language and the confidence to use that shared language, they can then connect with other people. We have players who say that through their character, they were able to understand their emotions better. They were able to express themselves. They were able to explore parts of their identity that they didn't feel safe sharing with other people until they were able to do that in our groups. I had one player say that playing their character helped them learn how to love themselves.
The Games Grow program helped me to overcome social fears and generally improve my my own social skills on top of my mental skills.
The Grows programs have helped me learn about new people and how to kind of jive with them more easily.
Game to Grow has helped me just be happier. Like, I always feel better before, like, looking forward to the event or like afterwards, and like sometimes if I've had a rough day, it can cheer me up.
When COVID first caused us to go into lockdown, we did it as a triage. For many of our participants, this was the only time they looked forward to leaving the house. And now that we weren't going to be able to provide that time away from the home and the time for the parent to be able to do some other things while the youth was in our groups, I was worried about what was going to happen when we shifted to a virtual space.
There was a couple points of fear from like providers and from parents. Does this model work online in the same capacity? We're losing some kind of magic that we had when we were in person. And what we found was a lot of the magic still comes through regardless. That human interaction piece is still there. And very specifically, the feedback I got from kids was like, so much of my online spaces is one way, and this is a space where it is bi-directional. I'm getting to talk to my peers and interact with the facilitator.
But one of the other things that was great for that moment of shifting virtual for us was we have had people on a wait list for years. And now that we were virtual, we could actually build the ability to provide services to them too. So now we have been able to help these young people connect not only with someone in their geographic area, but someone with a shared experience or a shared story internationally. And that experience of having them connect and know that they're not alone has been a really neat thing to see just how important it is to connect.
Foundry 10's been an amazing partner working with us throughout the process of helping us to refine our understanding of the kinds of asks and the kinds of information we wanted to collect from the participants within our groups, as well as really helping to open the doors on helping us be more involved in the research available for studying the kinds of work that we've done.
So feedback we heard from parents for our virtual groups, especially within the Foundry 10 study, was largely pretty positive. Parents, even those who didn't know a lot about RPGs, were still able to reflect on changes they saw in their participants over that time. For example, this is the one thing my participant is excited to show up for. We had one parent reflect that this group has been really helpful with time management, not necessarily because of what is happening in the group, but because they are so excited to go to the group and they want to make sure that they're not late, that they're setting their own alarms, they're making sure all their homework is done, which are skills that they can then utilize in other spaces. And I think that story is less of necessarily a sell for RPGs generally, but more of a reflection of how important it is that the interventions that we're using for participants are ones that they genuinely care about and can have real engagement. That's one of the reasons that we used games generally, because if we can build on this authentic engagement and excitement, that can be an amazing intrinsic motivator for people to work on things that they might otherwise not care about as much, like homework or hygiene or social skills.
The joy and the gratitude and the appreciation from parents of how their children were able to transform and come out of their shell and be more themselves was often a piece of feedback that I heard was really remarkable. And some of the parents that we worked with through the Foundry 10 research project ended up being really good connectors to other parents. They thought, this was an amazing experience, and my participant has really learned how to connect with others, and they're sharing it with their fellow parents and expanding the reach there.
One skill I've developed is learning how to help other people learn a new thing, how to communicate with people to, try and explain what I'm talking about, because that's always been something I'm bad at.
Letting other people take the spotlight sometimes. I often am either the one talking or doing something, and others can do that too.
Game to Grow's program helped me grow as a person and understanding people's personality in other ways. I've made friends in the community, but it made me feel more connected to people, like more people in the community of gaming, let's say.
I would love to see more research and more energy into exploring more diverse populations within role-playing games. I think Game to Grow could play a really active role in trying to use role-playing games for traditionally marginalized populations. In August, we'll be starting 2 trans-focused groups, so with trans facilitators focusing on agender or non-binary or questioning or trans youth. We're also hoping to expand our foster program, so looking at folks that have been in the foster system here in Washington State, and also to look at BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, and people of color participants as well, and other voices that have traditionally not been represented in the gaming space. I think there's huge room to grow, to expand who can be at the table and whose voices should be celebrated.
So Game to Grow has just finally finished releasing Critical Core, which is a take-home box set teaching people how to play role-playing games. It's got everything that you need to get started with role-playing games. Even if you've never heard of them before, it's designed with a slimmed down, easy to approach set of rules, but with outcomes related to social skill building. So it has many of the philosophies, many of the techniques that we use at Game to Grow to help get those out in the world.
So a couple of things on the horizon that I can talk about. We have a book that is going to be coming out published by Routledge. So it is basically a manual for how to use therapeutically applied role-playing games. I am so excited about it. I think it's going to be really beneficial both as an addition to the training program as well as for anybody who just really wants to know more about using therapeutic RPGs, about the kind of literature and the foundation that our model or that our method is based on. So I'm super excited about that book. Additionally, we utilize D&D in our groups. We utilize Critical Core. We also utilize Minecraft. And our training program largely has been pretty focused on therapeutically applied role-playing games, which is great, but we haven't had as many offerings for video games, Minecraft, other opportunities like that. And this year we are, the curriculum is in development right now, so hopefully by the end of the year we'll have a more comprehensive training around Minecraft as well as other video games.
So where we are now, our reach is tremendous. We're able, like I said, to serve 150 people around the world in our direct services. We've proven that our work has impacted and improved lives around the world. I think the only thing that's keeping us from doing that tenfold is the funding that's necessary to expand. I dream of a world where our trainings can be more accessible, where teachers don't have to pay for training, where we can provide all of our trainings to teachers for free. I used to be a classroom teacher, bought my own textbooks for my students, and I don't think teachers should have to pay for training. And if we could have hundreds of teachers coming into our program and getting that access to the training that they could take back to their students. Teachers have a whole lot of lives they impact. If we can get teachers in our training program, I think what would be a multiplier, once again, of the impact that we can have. So if people are inspired by our mission, they can support us or they can tell someone about us. That is the biggest ask that I would have for the community is how can you support Game to Grow? You can tell somebody about it.
We really believe that games have this power to impact your lives in positive ways. We don't just want people to game more, we want people to game better. We don't just want them to game, we want them to game to grow.